I can see you. Can you see me, Cynthia?
Yes, I can see you, and it's clear, and your sound is clear as well.
Wonderful. So welcome, Claire. I see a couple other people on the call, but I remember Claire and I spoke a couple of weeks ago, so just want to say hello. We are having a power outage right now in Jacksonville, so just heads up on that. So that's why I'm on my cell phone. And they're telling us a tree fell on a power line, so we're going to have power out for a while. So occasionally you'll see me fan. I'm sitting by the window where I have light, and we're going to make this work tonight. So thank you for joining us. I am Dr. V. I am the Cynthia, are you able to let people in as they come in? Okay, it keeps popping up. I'm Dr. V, and I am the founder of the new LaVilla. I'm a business owner here in Jacksonville, Florida. My company is the Center for Confidence. We are an organizational coaching and leadership firm, and we've been in business here for 10 years. I'm a Jacksonville native, and I am a Florida native, born just south of Gainesville, the University of Florida. Go Gators! And have lived in Jacksonville here for 10 years after relocating from San Antonio to retire with my husband and start a new life here. And we are absolutely enjoying it. So for today, I'm going to go over our outline of our discussion, and then we'll just roll right into it. And hopefully I can have the power to stay on for the full hour. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Cynthia. So for today, we're going to go back one, Cynthia. To talk about, yes, introduce ourselves and then talk about the new LaVilla project, the who, what, where, why, and our launch with Vester and our key team members. So it's really for you to learn about the new LaVilla and to think about, if you were interested in crowdfunding or crowdfunding investing, what that process, or even launching your entire campaign, what that process is like. Then we're going to talk about the vision behind Tiny Renaissance Homes. That is Cynthia's project. And then we will talk about the future of business crowdfunding and answer any questions that you all may have. You can also post questions in the chat as we go along if you have any. So I just introduced myself for the most part, but I have been in business for 20 plus years. I am a business technical assistance provider for the state of Florida. I focus on business development, marketing strategy, but also organizational crisis and helping businesses to pivot during crisis. So COVID was a very busy year for me. I'm a former federal employee with the Department of Defense, and I am a published author on Diva Decisions, how to get from smart to intelligent by claiming your power of choice. And I'm very passionate about helping women to become entrepreneurial leaders and creating entrepreneurial equity for families and women in particular. I'll turn it over to Cynthia.
Thank you, Dr. V. Hi, everyone. I am Cynthia Nevels, owner of Integrality, which is a business management consulting firm. I've been around for 23 years serving small businesses and ambitious business owners who are between that $500,000 to $5 million annual revenue. I have been an investor in different companies, from food to health and beauty, as well as technology, Honeybee, Curl Mix, and Happy Tomato Fresh Salsa. And I've helped many. I was in the game in crowdfunding when it first began, advocating for equity crowdfunding and online crowdfunding platforms years ago, helping companies devise their strategy, and just helping to support small businesses that are looking for strategies for improving their operation, their infrastructure, access to capital, alternative types and forms of capital, that is, and helping them to develop models that work. And so I'm thrilled to have met Dr. V, I think it's 3 years ago, and seeing what she's building and doing in this arena as it relates to real estate, which is very exciting. So thank you, Dr. V.
You're very welcome. And Cynthia is a consultant on the new LaVilla project. She's part of our consulting team, and her insight and information and experience and background in launching crowdfunding campaigns has been invaluable, and is just one testimony to the process that we have to go through to make sure that we're in compliance financially, legally, and professionally. So thanks for Cynthia for being here and for sharing your story and for helping other people to understand this new crowdfunding environment for business owners. Next slide. So I'm going to talk about the new LaVilla project, and then I'll hand it over to Cynthia to talk about her project. So the new LaVilla is a spin off of the LaVilla community in Jacksonville, Florida. When I moved here, Jacksonville has very, distinct neighborhoods. And one of those neighborhoods that is distinct, has a wonderful story, but is not thriving in the way that the other neighborhoods are. And, there's Springfield and there's Riverside. But the new LaVilla sits right off of our downtown area, and it is a historic area founded in 1866 by Black Union soldiers. The buildings were primarily torn down, but there is one block and a couple of independent buildings that are still standing. And what I saw was a vision to bring back this building and to restore this neighborhood, the image of this neighborhood, one building at a time. Right now, we're experiencing tremendous growth in the area, so there is a lot of interest in LaVilla right now. But for small investors and small developers like myself, we're usually boxed out. And I saw this as an opportunity to be an example of how we can come together as a community and have community ownership and investment in a project. So I'm really proud of what we've done so far. And now it's the time to ask the community for help. And I'm a teacher as well as a practitioner. So this is an opportunity to just share where we are so far and to ask for support. Next slide, Cynthia. So LaVilla, the where. Sorry, I am so sorry, I'm fanning. The LaVilla neighborhood is historic also in that it is Jacksonville has the largest community of Gullah Geechee descendants. The Gullah Geechee corridor, it's called the Low Country. The Smithsonian featured or was working on a feature of the Low Country with Jacksonville being the center of the story 2 years ago. Faith, one of the Smithsonian historians who's been there for decades, understood that Jacksonville, its proximity to the I-95 corridor and the I-10 corridor and the intersection of those places had a story to tell, a very historic and prominent story to tell. And so we're located in a place that is not only a destination, but is easily accessible and shares a story with all of the southeastern states when you start to talk about the uniqueness of the people that live in this town. Next slide. So LaVilla, again, was founded in 1866 by 35 former Black Union soldiers. The neighborhood became known as the Harlem of the South. Of course, there were several Harlem of the South sort of commercial districts. This one was unique because it was also called the Colored Man's Railroad. And A. Philip Randolph, who has a museum in the Northeast, was one of the founders of the Porters, the Pullman Porters Association. So when the trains and the locomotive transportation was the major way for industries, for companies to get around and was a booming industry, the Pullman Porters were the primary people who managed and served on those porter cars. James Weldon Johnson was also born here. He is the author of Lift Every Voice and Sing. He was the president of Stanton High School. He was also a former ambassador and a published author and writer within his own right. The first published account of blues singing on a public stage happened in Jacksonville. That's one of the other caveats of why this is called the urban district, but also it has roots in jazz and the Harlem Renaissance period as well. The Will Hotel, the platform that we're using, Vestor, focuses on hotel property and hotel ownerships, but they were very interested in this mixed use residence, retail, and co-working space because the Will Hotel was located at our site in 1913. It was the lodging space upstairs, and the traditional feature of commercial spaces back then was to have the lodging in the front, where the African American tenants in a segregated period usually stayed, and then public facing downstairs was your retail spaces. So we're going to bring this back in a very similar fashion. We also have the building historically landmarked to make sure that that we minimize the number of buildings that are being torn down in this historic district. Next slide. So when we're talking about putting together a fundraising campaign, a commercial real estate crowdfunding campaign, what you want to do is to show that this is a growth area, that there's significant growth that is happening, and that it is a place and a destination within itself. So what else is happening in Jacksonville? What are those market generators that we were looking at? Jacksonville itself is the subject of $80 million in private investments, plus another 200 million dollars in private investments. The first feature was our courthouse, which was about I believe that was about $600 million. The courthouse sits on 3 acres. We're located directly across from the courthouse, and the 3-acre urban park will be featured there. That urban park is earmarked to be developed and built out along with the LaVilla Heritage Trail by the next 3 years. So $80 million in investments, plus $100 million coming in from housing. New townhomes have come up. Rental units are now sitting across the street from us, and the entire area, next slide, is starting to quickly transform into a destination spot. The biggest news that came out recently was the announcement that the University of Florida will have a graduate campus in LaVilla, and they are investing $130 million. That will probably go up by the time they complete their entire build out. But where the old train station used to be, the terminal, is where their site's going to be located, and that is walking distance from the new LaVilla. Next slide. So some of the investment highlights the why. Why is the new LaVilla important, but also why invest now? So the Urban Land Institute designated Jacksonville as one of 5 cities designated as a supernova city. And so what that means is that Jacksonville is recognized as a space that is experiencing rapid business and economic growth. It is in the top 5 areas that are driving the economy in those cities. The area itself has the largest continuous area by square footage in the US. It is the 10th most populated city in the US. And the market trends that are supporting this Urban Land Institute designation is that we do have low unemployment. Florida, of course, has 0 taxes, and no state. We have 0 state income tax. Excuse me. We have taxes, but still, that's very low at 6 to 7%, depending on where you are. We are located as the 4th best city in the U.S. for new business startups, and so this co-working opportunity is ideal. We also are home to the Jacksonville Jaguars football team. So we are hoping that every year we're hoping that we have a great season that's coming up. Next slide, Nancy. And so the other question is, why a co-working space? And so because Jacksonville has a large population of entrepreneurs and new business startups, we looked at Statista that says our current co-working demand here in Jacksonville is to service about 4,600 to 9,200 business owners. So we will serve a very small portion of that, but the demand is still there. The features in these co-working spaces in terms of dedicated desks, virtual offices, generate around $350 to $119 on average. We are designing a space that is flexible to meet those needs, and that we are looking at targeting the freelancers, the independent entrepreneurs, but also because we're situated from the courthouse, we're looking at, for the meeting space, to have boutique weddings and legal services, all the services that a courthouse may be able to use and utilize. And so on the right-hand side, you'll see the trend data for the co-working spaces that shows the growth and the demand for these types of services. And again, we're centrally located in the downtown area. Next slide, Cynthia. Our unique value proposition is, of course, LaVilla is a destination. It is a residential, it's being built out to be a residential live, work, and recreate space. We are 2 blocks from Lift Every Voice and Sing Park. We are, again, right across the street from the Urban Park. We are across the street from the Heritage Trail. So we are a destination within itself. The co-working and wellness features, we are looking at how can we become a co-working plus wellness provider, including offering wellness rooms, on-site life and business coaching is a part of our membership package. And we are looking at how we can incorporate the culture and sustainability components of this area into our offerings at the new LaVilla. Next slide. You can skip through that one. That's a snapshot of the present. And then the next slide is a snapshot of what our renderings are.
Yep.
The next slide is the outside of what we're building out. So in these renderings, you can see the urban park across the street. The mural on the side is going to be I'll probably put it out to a vote, but for now it's a placeholder as a floral mural. But we want to create a mural that is a symbol of the former residents who used to live there. So we're currently having conversations with the Buffalo Soldiers Club to potentially create images around the former founding members who used to be there. And then the Heritage Trail for the new LaVilla, you can see the entryway. It'll come up through the walkway there around the back of the building, wrap back around to the what's that building back there? So across the street is the courthouse, and then the Masonic Lodge is on the block across from that. Next slide. And that Masonic Lodge is historic within itself. So in terms of proximity, these are some of the walking distance attractions that you can see. So James Weldon Johnson Park, you can see, is 3 blocks. The courthouse has 1.1 million visitors each and every month coming through their doors. So the opportunity for retail, and again, businesses that are related to and associated with the courthouse is very high. The annual average daily traffic data is there, about 7,000 cars coming through the front down Broad Street every week, every day. And, the Prime Osborne Convention Center, 4 blocks, the Performing Arts Center, half a mile. So it's definitely walking distance to a lot of the major attractions. The stadium being the farthest out at 1.6 miles. So it's a mile and a half. You can take the downtown shuttle to the stadium from there. Next slide. The timelines for the project is also important to factor in when you're building out a crowdfunding campaign. You want to make sure that it's something that's going to be built out and completed within the foreseeable future. In this case, we have gone through code compliance, zoning, and planning. Because it is a historic landmark, we have to go through quite a few city departments to make sure that we're protecting the integrity of the structure, but also making sure that it's safe and it's also brought up to code. The building is 100 years old. That's why it was historically landmarked. So now we have to make sure that we invest in making sure that it's modernized and current. The next stage is that we're going through Downtown Investment Authority approval for funding from the city that they offer for retail improvements and some facade improvements. So we're working on that to have approval in Q4. And then our target date for groundbreaking is Q1 of 2026, no later than Q2 of 2026. Next slide. And the team, as you can see, these are some of the renderings of the building, but I want to talk about, the team as well. Launching a crowdfunding project, a campaign, requires attorneys. It requires that you are audited by a CPA because you have to file documents with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So it is very important to surround yourself with the right team and the right people that are giving you great information. I did not know that there were so many lawyers involved in crowdfunding, but there are, and they've created and carved out a very nice niche for themselves. And so understanding, what kind of team, in addition to the architects, the design team, the contractors, it is very important to also have a team on the side of who understand the crowdfunding laws and the legalities that are associated with entering into the securities field. So these drawings are from our architect, and he's very good. He is also working on the Stanton project here, which is to restore the historic high school in the area that James Weldon Johnson was president of. So those are the numbers in terms of square footage that he had me to make sure I put the word expected size in case the drawings change. Just some insight into the heads of our attorneys. Don't commit to anything. Scroll down. Next slide. And so this is some of the comments that he was mentioning, is that the red markings after we went to our safety and fire department division suggested that we create a private entrance for the residents. So these drawings are showing the private residents being incorporated into the drawings. So this process of working with architects and engineers can be a lengthy process. So this is some of the pre-work that has to be done before you can file, if you're talking about a commercial real estate campaign. Next slide, Cynthia. We should be done. Our business model and marketing strategy also has to include the projections for revenue. So there's a separate pro forma that has to be built out. And then this slide is just a snapshot of the 1 year's operating cost and the first year's revenue, not the operating costs. The operating costs are on the full 3-year. Actually, it's a full 10-year pro forma because I wanted to, for some reason, exceed what they were requesting of me. But it's a clear understanding of what your cash flows are going to be looking like, and that information has to be prepared as well. Next slide. And this is information about the raise. So I won't go into the raise. I highly encourage you, if you're curious about the raise or are interested in investing, that you go to the website, look at the pitch deck, and register with vestor.com. So the other core piece of crowdfunding is that you must have an intermediary involved with the management and handling of any funds raised. So Vestor.com is our platform that we're using for that. And so we have put together a package for potential investors who invest at certain levels to have benefits and perks associated with that, but also that the instrument that we're using is an opportunity to have equity in the project once the built out is complete. Nothing is guaranteed. Everything is based on projections. And so all of that language is very clear and very intentionally spelled out on the Vestor platform. Next slide. Okay, next slide. It's just incentives. Next slide, next slide. So use of proceeds. And so I just want to get to the thank you and then a quick view of the team. So if there are questions in the chat, we can take those now. Or we can just rattle those off at the end, and I'll turn it back over to Cynthia. So the last part of this pitch deck is just the legal language, and so I won't bore you with the legal language. All of this is also in the pitch deck on the Vestor platform and on the newlavilla.com website. So thank you all so much. I can't see everyone. I feel like I'm just talking to a blind screen, but if you have any questions, I'm here to answer anything that you have. And I'll turn it over to Cynthia to talk about her project.
Thank you, Dr. V. I don't have any questions appearing in the chat just yet, but you all are welcome to ask any questions, whether it be related to the process of developing a crowdfunding campaign or investing in the new LaVilla project itself. It is open and available to those who are interested. And Dr. V is the head or leader and owner of this project. And you're welcome to ask any questions that you may have of her. One question from Detrick DeBur: where is New LaVilla in the permitting process?
Yes, so the permit was submitted last fall, and it was returned for the safety review. So we had finished the review with the fire department in November/December. And so now we're going back through. We've made the corrections. Those were the red corrections that you saw. Thank you, Cynthia. So we've made those corrections, and now we're going back through the approval process with the Historic Preservation Committee. They have to approve those new changes because we're making changes to the facade. We're adding a door. And then once we go through Historic, we have to go back through the Downtown Investment Authority to ask them to invest in the retail portions of the property. Yes, a sprinkler is required. That is absolutely why the fire department and code compliance sent the drawings back to us to make sure that we incorporated those into the drawings. Thank you. Great question. Very technical.
That's his background. That's what he does for a living. So he'd be great to get to know as well. And then Abdul has inquired how much has been raised thus far. We've just launched the campaign, but Dr. V?
Yes, so nothing has been raised on Vestor thus far. No one has pulled the trigger. We are actively in conversations with a couple of hot and warm investors. So we're continuing to cultivate them. The incentives run out the end of this month. So some of them are still doing their due diligence, but July 31st is when we expect to see the first, or just before July 31st is when we expect to see the first investors to show up. I am the owner of the property. The new LaVilla is our holding company. I saw part of a question.
Who owns the property today, and is it secured or under contract? They actually own it, Detrick.
Yes. Thank you. Great question.
Yes. And so this is a property that is owned. We're doing a crowdfunding campaign to raise 1.23 million for part of the cost of redeveloping and building out this new model that Dr. V has presented to you all. We are including outside funding as well, which she mentioned municipal funding from economic development to help with the cost as well. And then we will have debt capital to match for this project. Does this qualify for foreign investors? These have to be,
So that,
oh, go ahead, Dr. V.
yeah, please answer, Cynthia, because that came up during the pitch.
So this has to be US based investor accredited and non are accepted. Okay, what is the total raise outside of the crowdfunding? So I think you're asking, Kimba, the total project cost, just for clarity.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Cynthia.
Okay, you're welcome. Dr. V.
Yes, it's 1.7, Kimba.
Okay,
And
so it looks like the crowdfunding is taking the lion's share of the raise, correct?
we actually have a meeting with the contractor tomorrow to make sure that the safety, the sprinklers and all that other stuff that were added in were costed out appropriately, but it'll be around 1.7.
Okay, fantastic. And did you guys address, sorry, this is a part two, I apologize. Did you guys address, I know ground break is looking like Q1 of 26. What is the projected timeline for the entire project?
Yeah, so it's 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great questions.
So just to
Yes.
follow up on the foreign investor, I think you were saying there should be US based investors. Is that correct? Or
Yes, US based investors who are accredited or non-accredited.
but can they get funding from foreign, or it has to be all US? I mean, funding from here itself within US.
If the investor is making the money on behalf of an outside investor who may come from foreign,
Mhm.
it it it, it can be done.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
my pleasure. And then, Dedrick, what's your relationship with Inc. Dev Alliance? I'm a member. Inc. Dev Alliance?
Thank you for being on. So I'll be talking to the Inked Up people, unfortunately, after this raise it uh, has closed. But yeah, so I'm a member and they were very helpful. And who is this? Who asked that question?
Dedrick?
Detrick. So I'm going to be in the Slack channel talking about this project. So thank you for being here. So I initially reached out to them for just a working knowledge on developing, just becoming a developer. So I am still a member, still attending all of the trainings and workshop opportunities. So yes, so for novice developers and new developers who have small projects, the Incremental Development Alliance is a great organization to help you to understand just the fundamentals of being a small developer, developers with one project, not like the University of Florida or the $80 million project that is, across the street, or the $150 million project, just independent individuals who want to to also have ownership in our historic spaces. So thank you for asking that.
So I think this project is super, super unique because it has historical components to it, but also new development that already has capital invested around it because of the economic development focus on the area. And you're like, I wouldn't say right in the center of it all, but you're right there close to all the things that are happening downtown, and the revitalization that's happening in that area is like on the minds of everyone there. And especially with the focus on the sports with NFL and what they're wanting to see happen in Jacksonville. You're in the right place at the right time. It's a matter of securing the funding to build out this building that will serve a purpose, multiple purposes, at the right time. And so kudos to you for seeing that before anybody else could see that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Cynthia.
Sure, absolutely. And then Abdul wanted a link to, I'm assuming that Abdul wants a link to InkDev Alliance.
Yes,
If
yes, yeah.
Okie dokie, if someone can share that. Can you speak briefly on the expector investor return model? Yes, that has been broken out, and Dr. V does have that. And so you'll be able to talk to that here in a moment, or that's available online.
Yeah, so that's so you can schedule a one-on-one with me, or go to thevestor.com, the intermediary platform, and look at the pitch and the questions that are in there. I'm always nervous about well, my attorney pops into my head, so but yes, the projected returns are what's the language I'm supposed to use? Everything is just for illustration purposes only. They're examples of what may be expected as a return, but we are not in control of, um, markets and climates. But we do have a projection that we can show as an illustration of what your expected return could be.
I gotcha. And then can I just thank you? That was my question. And I guess the other thing I'm trying to get clarity on, if you can, I understand your constraint, is time frame around that too. So if the project completion is projected 3 to 4 years out, are you looking at investor returns on a quarterly, annual basis once you begin to collect rent rolls and leases, or is it a little bit further out based on something else?
No, so that's the whole 3 to 4 years is a whole period. So in order to complete one, we're expecting to complete 1 year of operations by year 4. And so for the instrument that we're using for this initial round is a SAFE. It's a simple agreement for future equity. So our initial instrument that we're using is a SAFE to receive equity in the building. Once we hit 1 million, it automatically converts to equities. But we want to also, after the refinancing of the building occurs, so we exit out of the SAFE agreement and then convert that into a ownership agreement where you can receive a dividend. So it'll be a two-step process, and hopefully I explained that. But the Q&A in the Vestor platform is pretty clear. We're uploading questions about that daily, so that go through the attorney, so we can make sure that we're using the right language.
I gotcha. Perfect. Is someone able to put, I know it was in the presentation, are you able to link the Vestor page, the specific Vestor page that points to the new LaVilla project?
Yes,
Like,
if
is
you
it
go to the new
vestor.com
LaVilla,
slash something?
that's what I was going to say. If you go to the
Okay.
newlavilla.com, the link straight to the new LaVilla raise. If you go to vestor.com, well, you still have to register anyway on the page. So once you register, you'll see the retail offering, and the retail offering will be the new LaVilla.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, I think those were questions. Detrick has shared the link. Thank you so much. So exit strategy, we can circle back to that. Business exit strategies, that's broken down for us. The risk factors are shared as well for everyone to read and see. Again, these are all of the elements that you would have to have worked out prior to the launch of the crowdfunding of your equity crowdfunding campaign. And then for those who are interested in investing, all of these details have been created, drafted, and reviewed by the legal team, accountants, as well as the team at Vestor.
and the Securities and Exchange Commission, everyone.
Okay, perfect. Yes, this was the team that you were sharing, who's involved with the program or project thus far. Lots of moving pieces and parts. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is to secure that capital so that we can break ground and then begin the renovations. All righty, key person risk. Just going through here.
Yeah, and all of those again, all of this language again is on the Vestor platform as well.
All right. Let's see. I think that's it. The end of it there, Dr. V.
Yes.
All right, very good. So I'll share just small amount of details. Doing a commercial development, two of them actually, projects here in Texas. And mine is not an equity crowdfunding raise. I just want to encourage folks to who may be new. You may not be. Sounds like you all are very savvy and have done this before. But getting involved in real estate development and real estate investment has become much easier for us to use small amounts of capital to invest in projects that can yield larger results in the future for us. And so my project is related to the tiny home community development and wellness retreat community, which is, according to research, wellness and wellness travel resorts are um, pegged to generate I think $1.42 trillion by 2028, which is only 3 years from now. It is a high growth area that many folks are interested in from a user perspective, but also investor. You probably have also seen Marriott and many of the hotel chains who are acquiring these small, kind of tiny home, very unique niche resort type um, projects that are very, very different from the hotel industry, but what they're forecasting and seeing is that people want experiential activities that take them away from the everyday and experiences that they've had in traditional hotel. People want to break, they want to relax, they want a place that they can unwind and just disconnect and at alarming rates, as you can imagine. And so I began buying property, land a year and a half ago for this purpose because of my obsession with tiny homes and minimalism. And at first, it was going to just simply be, I'm just going to do this for myself because I'm at an age where I'm ready to begin to transition into a different lifestyle after my daughter goes to college. But then, after I did the research and began putting together the model of what that would look like and actually seeing the trends, I began to really seriously think about turning this into a commercial venture and then potentially opening it up for outside investors to be involved with this as well. With these properties, one of which is Sage Cottages in Fairfield, Texas. All of my development is in rural areas, not urban, which is different from Dr. V, because I'm really focusing on that, getting back to nature, outside of city limits, but yet still within an hour to an hour and 25 minutes of the major cities for those who may work. Most folks would work remotely, but those who also may want to be connected to things to do. And so finding that land and those opportunities that are right in the middle, in the center of all things, but yet you still feel like you're out in the country and away from it all was key. And so I found that in Central Texas and Fairfield, and then another larger property in Marshall, Texas, East Texas, which is where my family is from. Lots and lots of African American history there as well, which was really important to me. And so Tiny Renaissance Homes is really focused on developing tiny micro home communities that center around wellness, that allows for people who own park mobile homes to install their homes on lot leases and partake and take advantage of the opportunity to turn it into a full-time home, part-time home, part-time vacation home, that is, or an investment tool for short-term rentals. We are allowing that for the tiny homes that would be installed on the property. Marshall is going to be slightly different because it's more land and larger, and my brother owns 11 acres next door to mine. We will have tree houses, tiny tree houses, as well as tiny homes, and then, of course, wellness events such as yoga, breath work, sound bath. The environment is just rich for that type of escape. And that will be more of a resort, tiny resort centered around wellness, which will be called Honeysuckle and Pine Resort in East Texas. So we are accepting outside investors. We have a different model altogether. We're really focused on rural areas, but both projects are really interesting and unique. And I think and starting at the right time, and will prove to be a way for us to be able to, as minorities, participate in the wealth building tools that are available in real estate development. And so that is my presentation on Tiny Renaissance Homes.
Are you able to pull up your just your website, the page that has the models?
Mhm. I can do that. And feel free to ask any questions if you have any questions while I pull that up. I have to. Yes, here we go. I'm going to drop this into the chat right here, tinyrenaissancehomes.com. And the model that I originally approved, which is a custom luxury, that's the other component, custom luxury tiny home. Those are a little bit higher price points. We are allowing different park models to install in on the Fairfield location. Here we go. There we go. Other than the custom, because I wanted to make sure that they were affordable. They just simply have to be 2023 or 2023 to 2025 models of park model homes that would be approved to be installed. And these are leases, 1-year leases that are auto renewed or renewable year after year. Not short term, it's not an RV park at all. What we want are people who want their homes in a community that align with the lifestyle and the environment that we are creating, who are looking for investment opportunity or part-time escape or full-time minimalist lifestyle.
I think that's just an amazing project as well, Cynthia, and it's so timely and needed. And so what Cynthia and I have in common is that we're just really focused on how do we, again, just create economic equity by creating these opportunities for individuals to own a piece of up and coming, timely projects that are rooted in history and storytelling, and that help us to just shrink the wealth gap in so many ways, but also to be able to participate in different areas of life that we wouldn't normally experience, that many people would normally experience. Yes, I love this 399 square foot one.
Thank you, Dr. V, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of your presentation today. I'm rooting for you, but I appreciate you letting me share.
Absolutely. There's enough to go around, and everybody's different in what they, want to see. So I absolutely want to support you. This is a web information webinar that um, will be happening every week during the duration of my campaign while it's open. It closes on September 30th. And then the other interesting thing is you can't speak about your project when you're entering crowdfunding, a live crowdfunding round, until it is submitted to the SEC. So the entire time that we are working on this, we can't say a word about the crowdfunding piece until we hit the submit button. And so the live launch date was the end of June, July 1, so to speak. But we are introducing people to this for the very first time. They're just hearing about it. And so it's sort of like working backwards and trying to catch up on the time that we lost while we were developing this project, investing all of our personal monies. We couldn't ask for a dime until we had, the SEC stamp on it. So it's a long process. It's a patient process, but it's just such a rewarding process as well, especially when, you want to give people an opportunity to have ownership in these spaces.
Agreed. And because of our background in history, we both are 23 years for myself as in business management and accounting, marketing, and technology. And so I know a great deal about managing by the numbers and take that very seriously and helped, I don't know, thousands of entrepreneurs and CEOs build, really large enterprises, and so has Dr. V. And so we have a great deal of expertise and experience and knowledge from a management perspective. Real estate, we're cutting our teeth and learning more on the dirt part. But that's the fun part, I think. And so my goal, as well as Dr. V, is to run really successful ventures in this space. If any of you have ever followed Isaac French's story, he built after the pandemic 2.5 years ago a 10-unit community. It was A-frame homes like these, micro homes, tiny homes on a lake in Waco and his family. He crowdfunded with his family and his friends, pulled all their monies together in a line of credit from his uncle's business for 1.2 and sold that property and all of it to private equity firm for 7 million 18 months later. And 24 months later, it took some months to finalize and get the check and finalize the deal. But 24 months later, sold it for 7 million, which is tremendous for 10 units. And so it just really speaks to, if you are able to crowdfund and pull funds together and build something significant and important in what the market wants, you can generate the return you're looking for.
Yes, while being inclusive.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I this came to my mind, and because it was really not on my radar until my husband's very much into horses and horse racing and all of that. And I remember it must have been the Derby. I think that's his favorite show. There was a horse that won, and one of the owners said, "So many people own this horse." And I said, "Oh, that's very interesting. Like thousands of people own this horse." And he said, he was talking about, yeah, how they raised the money through crowdfunding to own this horse. And I thought that was such a brilliant model. And so it can definitely work in many spaces.
Agreed. Are there any other questions that you have for us at all? I really appreciate you all being here and tell people that you know. I'm telling people now that we're breaking ground, about to install the first 2 homes. We've already signed a lease for the third lot, or 4 of the lots and looking to close out on 3 more. And so, before long, it's the same for Dr. V and myself. They'll be full. And then we'll go on to the second property. But as far as Dr. V, this is what we call patient money because there's construction involved, renovation involved. But when it's all said and done, it's going to fulfill a need.
Yes. So I don't know if I mentioned the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So yeah, so it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit for members in the rear with the meeting space in the front, retail and co-working at the lower level. And so next week, Felicia Fro, she is a physician who also talks about, real estate and commercial real estate investments and, how you can, as a community, raise funds. So she will be with us next Monday, same time, 7 p.m. Hopefully I'll have power back on by then. And she's going to talk about her show and her platform where she has a podcast where she's bringing people together through that medium. So she'll have a lot to talk about in terms of what they're doing in the Northeast, in DC. So Cynthia's in Dallas. I'm Jacksonville. Next week we'll talk about the DC area.
Oh,
DM.
that's exciting. You have a link for that one?
Yes, it's already on the New LaVilla Facebook page and on the newsletter. So please sign up for the newsletter if you haven't. Just fill out the contact form on the page. My battery's dying.
Okay.
Fill out the contact form on the page, and we'll add you to the newsletter.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you're taking the time out this evening to listen to us and learn a little bit about our projects and about crowdfunding.
All right. I'm just answering that last question that Abdul had submitted. And so there you go. This was just opened up this month. All of it has been self-funded by myself. We are opening it up because I realized that there's going to be great opportunity for us to shape this into the type of wellness resort project that I want to have. And I essentially just wanted to open it up and share it with some folks that are interested in this space. And then I'll open up Marshall because that's going to be a larger raise for the tree houses as well as the tiny homes that we'll place out there with a different type of spin on it because it's more acres. So that's where we are today. And I'll be actively talking to folks about Fairfield first to get to the 100,000. The rest of it I've already did. All right, perfect. Thank you, Dr. V. I hope this went well for you. And thank you all for being on the call. Hope we answered all of your questions. I hope that you all invest in Dr. V's project.
Thank you, Cynthia.
My pleasure.
Please invest and learn. Invest and learn. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.